What's goody, what's goody, what's goody, y'all? This is Debbie Keats coming at you live and in color, as you can see. I have not been around for over a week, maybe almost 2 weeks. I know I just woke up real quick and I had about, let me go ahead and make this film. I apologize for the voice. Like I said, I just woke up. I apologize for the way I look. I have been living underneath a rock for a while. And one of my favorite actors, my bad, one of my favorite actors from one of my favorite movies that I did mention during the 30th of October. I had a shirt full of horror movie actors, and one of my favorite ones, I found out yesterday that he died November 4th. Who is it? Tony Todd. I am like, wow. I'm not trying to make the voice as him. It's just since I just woke up, this is how I sound. Don't mind it. But yeah, Candyman was one of my favorites growing up. Actually, I was pretty young when it came out, or I know I was born. I'd say that much. Yeah, this whole thing, how they treated him in the movie, like it was a burden to have, because of the whole back in the days with all the racism and everything, and it wasn't allowed interracial couples, and well, at least white person being with a black person in general. Yes, I know that's interracial. That's what interracial means, but it wasn't allowed at the time, and they, how they chased him down and cut his hand off, and put honey on him and let the bees eat him up and everything like that while he looked himself in the mirror. It was just crazy. The movie was insane. Like the original ones, the Tony Todd, yo, he made Candyman. Like it was consistent throughout the whole board. It wasn't like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and do it this way, but then we're gonna do it this way. No, like honestly, I cannot complain about any of the Candymans. Even the remake was actually really good too. Like I really enjoyed the remake, which I was scared because nobody can do it like Tony Todd. But excuse me, I apologize. The guy that portrayed Candyman in the remake, I'm not 100% sure his real name, but he did pretty good as Candyman. But I liked Tony Todd in the Final Destination series. Like he would come make his and makes basically his presence known throughout all the movies. Um, I have to go back into Final Destination movies, but I'm pretty sure that Tony Todd didn't come out in the last one or the last, yeah, like the last one. I'm pretty sure he didn't come out in that one. But I guess he was tired of, or he knew that the the um the Final Destination, that one, he must have knew that that shit was trash because he didn't even want to make an appearance in that one. He didn't even want nothing to do with it. And yeah, it had to be that one because in the last one of the Final Destinations, he came out in it because it went right back to, like, if it was a prequel, like it went right back to the beginning. So I remember seeing Tony Todd in that one, but in four he didn't come out in that one at all because, like I said, I think he must have thought that the movie was trash enough that it wasn't gonna. He didn't want to put his hand in that cookie jar. I know I'm a little sidetracked right now, but like I said, I'm sleepy, and I wanted to go ahead and put it out there that I'm I'm doing all right. I'm doing fine. It's just um, I have to find, like, I can still do shirts of the days of whatever shirts I wear and everything like that, but I gotta find new material. You feel me? I don't want to just put anything out there that I don't feel comfortable putting out there. I know I promised you guys to come online for Halloween, so you guys can see my outfit and everything like that. But the thing is, I wasn't satisfied with the costume that I wanted to put on originally, and I felt like I could pull it off if I thought about it in a different perspective. But I felt like I was going to embarrass myself if I did. And I just stuck to what I know. You guys saw me the day I came from Comic Con, and how I was dressed and everything as the female version of Jack Skeleton. So I went and ran it back, and for Halloween I did the same thing. I So that way you guys don't miss out. So you guys already saw how I was dressed. Um, I want to be able to go out there and put some wrestling contact in my stuff. Like later on today, it's already 5:48, so it's already November 10th. Later on today, I'm gonna go see Red One. That's another thing. I've been so tired, especially coming back to work. Like I was able to do a lot, you know, and since gave me less hours, but I'm still getting up early. So my body is just basically tired, telling me it's tired. So I'm actually listening to my body and sleeping more. So that's another reason why I haven't really been on. But I am going to go today to go see Red One, featuring The Rock, Chris Evans, Captain America himself, and The Rock, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, especially around the Attitude Era. Um, they're gonna come out in this movie called Red One. It's supposed to be a holiday movie. They're showing early screening today, so I get to actually see it before a lot of people actually before it actually goes into all the theaters and before a lot of people others go to. I know I'm stuttering a lot, but a lot of people um that want to go see that movie and they don't know that today is premiering, they won't see it till it actually hits all theaters. Whenever I want to see a movie, I like to see movies ahead of time so that way if somebody wants to go ahead and spoil it, because a lot of people in my family do that, like we do it to each other. We go watch movies or we see a movie and it's just like, oh, we already know what's going on. So if somebody hasn't seen the movie, that person avoids family until um the movie they actually see the movie, because we have the itch, like we want to go ahead and we want to tell people if we liked it or not, why we liked it, what parts we liked, what parts we didn't like, stuff like that. um that's why when I went to go see these other movies, like sometimes I kept quiet about it. I waited till um peoples in my family went to go see it, so that way I could talk about it, or I could just be like, "Oh, I already saw it. I just didn't say nothing because I didn't want you to know the movie. I wanted you to see it for yourself because I want you to be able to judge it." But that's how I am with everybody with you guys. Like sometimes I don't like spoiling movies, but hey, I do like spoiling movies. Sometimes I don't want to talk about a movie that hasn't been out in every theater, but hey, I do want to talk about it. Why? Because sometimes I like to spoil shit. That's just me. I know I keep it real how I am. Um, like I said, I apologize for the voice. Please don't take it. Please don't take it to heart. Um, this is how I sound when I just wake up. I'm still groggy, so this video is probably gonna come out like gibberish, and I do apologize for that. But I needed to take this video out. I needed to send this video out to you guys so that way you guys know. Yeah, I'm underneath a rod, but I got the news now, and I'm finally able to say it because the fact is, Tony Todd is one of, if not one of my top 10, or yeah, I would say pop between 10 and 5. I would say probably like my top 5 horror actors, characters in general. And, you know, I felt bad I wasn't around actual news or anything like that, or my friends usually tell me ahead of time, or I just be like, oh, I don't believe it, and then I look it up, and then I'd be like, oh, snap, you know, and it sucks because I was just talking about him on Halloween. I mean, on the 30th, about well, I was showing you all my horror characters and a little bit about some of them, and he was one of the main ones that I was talking about because I noticed him out of a lot of my characters who he was, and it was easy to identify him. But now that he's gone, it's just like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I know people go and come, and you know, this life is not built for people to live forever. But it's just like when you finally get the news, like somebody's just, you know, dead, and it's just like, what? Like, I was just talking about him, and when I was talking about him, he was alive. And now, a week later, you know, I'm finding out he's dead. Like, that's sad. My heart goes out to his family, and my prayers go to him. I wish him everything up in heaven. And thanks for the memories, man. And I get a little emotional, honestly, because like I said, I grew up watching these movies, and um he's one of those legendary characters, legendary actors that you want to go ahead and just be like, please don't let nothing happen to him, because he's the voice, that main voice that he has, that real deep voice. I can't even do it, even if I sound like this when I'm waking up. um it's like you go around and you could close your eyes and hear his voice, and you be like, oh, that's Tony Todd, hands down. Now, he's gone, and if somebody else has that voice, it's just gonna be like, it's gonna feel weird to hear somebody, specifically that voice, that is so easy to identify as Tony Todd. Um, Honestly, he's a great actor. He is a great actor, you know, and it's just like he had a lot of he had these opportunities that a lot of our skin complexions, um, a lot of color folks didn't have, and he was one of them that really stood out there because honestly, there's not a lot of African American horror killers, to be honest with you. I'm not saying this as a racist thing because, like I said once, and I'll say it again, I am not a racist. I have a lot of light skinned people in my family. Don't believe me. I don't normally show my family. I don't normally show my skins, but you see that? That's my family. That's always going to be my family. They're blood, literally blood related. I don't have nothing against light skinned people at all. I've never been that type of person to judge anybody. And I always say that in my videos. And most of my videos, I've always mentioned that. Just when it comes, and also when it comes to LGBTQ plus community. I've never been a type of person to go ahead and discriminate off of anybody. But when it comes to horror, you don't get a lot of our people out there. Like, a lot of people can be like, oh, name some black horror characters. A lot of people can't. Like, the first person that they think about is Tony Todd, because he was like the mecca of 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 our community in horror. He's like go to. Like, my nephew that's only 10 knows who he is. My nephew that's only 10 watched his movies, and and knows who he is. And it's sad because, I mean, it's a good thing because you know they get to know these people that we grew up watching. But then it's sad at the same time. It's just like we can't really introduce them to more people like us in that horror genre. Because honestly, I say this in the most respectful way. Um, they kill off in horror movies. They kill off our race very fast first, or sometimes they try to keep us for last, just so that way we don't feel bad. They do these things, and draw on, and it's sad because the thing is, I think that they know that we will not be another typical person that's not of color and just do these dumb scenarios. Like, we would want to fight back. Why? Because this is our opportunity to show that we're not going to back down for anything. Then to have a horror character, actor, Tony Todd, to come in, already dead, comes back, and he starts doing all these things. And then he goes to his backstory, and it's just like, this is the reasons why he's this way. It's like, we had to be created to hate in order for us to have a horror villain in our community, you know? Because honestly, Tony Todd was a good man. He ended up falling in love with somebody outside his race, and he was innocent. They killed an innocent man. So now he wants to take revenge on all that. It's not that he was born evil, he was created, which is sad because it's just like, you're going to say, this is a typical, excuse me, this is a typical black person going out there destroying shit. No, it's not a typical black person going out there and destroying shit. This was an innocent man that got wrongfully accused because the bitch didn't want to open her mouth and say that she was in love. And if she did try to protect them, because I can't remember half of the movie because I was young, and they still didn't care about it, this is still an innocent man that got killed and tortured. Well, he got tortured, then killed. Of course he's going to come back. Of course he's going to come back. You know, God rest his soul, Martin Luther King. What if they made a horror movie out of him? Run it back. What if they made a movie that in this movie they portrayed him as a horror character? Because throughout his whole time that he was alive, he wanted peace. He fought for peace. He fought for equality. He fought for everything. He made that speech. I had a dream speech, right? Who killed him? Because he was getting too powerful? Or he was out there? Exactly. What if he was to come back after he did all this good? He came back for revenge because he was innocent. Innocent blood was spilled. Imagine they made him as imagine if they made him as another horror character. People would just be like, they would be devastated, but they're gonna look at it like, they're gonna understand in his perspective why he came back for revenge. Anybody, any black person out there that made an impact in this world, that had no criminal background, that did good his whole life. I'm not saying that Martin Luther King was a saint. I'm not saying that he was a saint. I'm just saying in general. Like, imagine if somebody, his whole background was innocent to the T, and the only reason that he got killed is because he was becoming too powerful, or because they didn't like to see change. And since they didn't like to see change, they wanted to destroy that. So they got rid of the person that started the whole movement. Tony Todd started that movement in that movie. Like, he fell in love with a light skinned person, and at that time you wasn't allowed to mix race. And then, just like Martin Luther King, he was passionate and he stood up for equality. And people was afraid that he would get too powerful, so they had to destroy that. I'm not, you know, saying that they're the same people, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just trying to make examples out of in his world and in the horror community. Like, innocent people got destroyed. So you can't blame that innocent person for coming back and getting revenge. Just like um Jason. All right? We'll do an example. Jason, Friday the 13th, Jason. He was a little boy when the counselors wasn't watching him, and he drowned. Began bullied, but he drowned and all that. The mother wasn't the way she was. She came back for revenge. Then Jason took the mantle over when his mother got killed, because I guess she couldn't stop killing, because she felt like it was still lingering in her, because she was still upset. And then they keep opening the camp constantly. They keep opening this camp. She felt like all you kept doing was disrespecting, and not and the counselors still being promiscuous, still doing what they doing. And then, I guess you were seeing a lot of those, campers getting hurt, or a lot of campers not being watched because of this, and it would piss her off all the time. Like, sometimes people are not born to be this way. Sometimes they're created. I give you a sample of somebody that was born for it. Michael Myers. He was born that way. It wasn't like he was created. He just got up one time and decided, I want to kill. And he just kept going and going until he killed his sister. Like, his mother, his father, his his sister, yeah, she was promiscuous and everything like that. But in the beginning of the movie, they didn't really show that they were bad people. This was the original I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Rob Zombies, no remakes, no nothing. This is the original I'm talking about. How it all began. Like, he just decided one time for Halloween that this was it. This was the time that he was going to do what he was going to do. And he killed his sister. It's just like, that's the difference between being made and being created. And being created and just doing it because this is what you want to do. Or this, you just woke up all of a sudden and you wanted to do it. You know, I made examples out of everything. There's always a backstory to some people, and the reasons why they do these things. But what makes Michael Myers even more creepier is that he just decided one time that he was just going to get up and do it. That's the difference between him and Tony Todd. He was created. That's the difference between Michael Myers and Jason and Tony Todd. Jason and Tony Todd, they were created. I'd say that, you know, Tony Todd, innocent man, and he was tortured and killed because they didn't like a change. They didn't like um, black people at the time being mixed with their race. And Jason was an innocent boy, and counselors wasn't watching him while he was getting picked on. He drowned. So His mother wanted to take revenge. Then came Jason, take his revenge for killing his moms, for the way they treated him. Like, these are characters that, I had to put those two in almost the same category. But the reasons why I have a high pedestal Todd, um, Tony Todd, is because he didn't ask to fall in love. He didn't ask to be born out of a different race. He didn't ask for any of these things. And they chased him. They tortured him and then killed him. Made him look at himself of how he looked after torturing him and then killed him. Like, with Jason, yeah, they let him drown and all that kind of stuff. But he wasn't beaten. He just fell in the water and he couldn't swim, and nobody was paying attention to him and he drowned. My point is I feel like I'm going and drifting off back and forth, is Tony Todd became one of those characters, actors that I grew up respecting and fearing. And you can't really say that for a lot of our community, um, in the horror genre. That's why we hold him high on the pedestal. A lot of our community do, because they really let us show that we can be horror too. You know, we love horror just as the next person. Doesn't matter what complexion you are, we can do it just as good as you. And that's one of those characters which I really appreciated his work. And he is an actor that will be missed. And hopefully, I'm not asking for him to get replaced, but hopefully there's somebody out there that can try and not fill his shoes, but fill the mantle of another franchise for our community. You know, let something different for a while come up, because all this possession, all these other horror movies that's coming out, they're being played as typical. They're good, don't get me wrong, but we see them one too many times, and I want something different. I want to see somebody different. Maybe we can't replace Tony Todd as far as another horror, because he's a horror icon, but maybe we can make a movie, write a movie down, and try to put something out there that's going to show that we can do horror too. You know, we do romance. We do romance real good. Um, we do action good. You know, we do um, inspirational movies really good, because we do break a lot of barriers down, and a lot of people don't know, so they got to see these things. But fear, like real fear, you know, if somebody that has a low budget, like Terrifier, can grow gradually like that, why can't we? Why can't somebody out there just make something up? You feel me? Or who knows? Matter of fact, I want to put this on this video because I was thinking about it the other day. And today is the November 10th. I want to say something because I want to make sure that it is, I don't know if Leone, the one that did Terrifier, I don't know if he has the same mentality as I do, or goes along the lines, but I had put in a note because I wanted to see, and I wanted to put it out in whatever video I made recently, so that way if it does pop up, I could be like, hey, I said it first. So for this, I put, do you know what would be so sick if this is just the future and the little girl, which will be Sienna, um, or the father was the one who saw this image? Because remember how in Terrifier 3, the father was holding on to the drawing that he drew for Sienna about the hero and everything, and he was like shaking everything like that. What if this was all the father seeing all this in the future, what was going to happen, and they come back toward the ending and realize that it was a dream and that this was going to really happen. It's like, because he's doing the supernatural thing. So what if this was all in the future, and in this next one or the following one after that, he decides that what he's going to do is probably rip up the paper afterwards and don't present that character or kill that character before he becomes reality. Because what if he has the power to bring these people to life, or these drawings to life, and that happens to be the one that started it all? I know it sounds a little far fetched. I know it sounds a little crazy, but you never know. Always, whenever you think about something, write a what if, put it on notes, write a date, because if it pops up in the future, you can definitely brag about it and say, hey, I made movies. I made movies and I said it straight up. This was going to happen. And you never know. It might actually happen. This is actually one of my long videos. And I know it was just me rambling. But honestly, I haven't seen you guys and I have not spoken to you guys in so long. So I figured, hey, I might as well take advantage now before I start my day, because knowing me, I'm either going to go back to sleep or I'm going to knock myself out, because I think I have melatonin there, because I need to go back to sleep. I go back to work on Monday and I don't want to fall asleep in the theaters later on today. So, yeah, I'm going to go back to sleep. You guys have a great day. Stay blessed. And I'm going to try not to stay away from you guys so long. But I definitely will just do um, shirts of the day whenever I have another shirt on. I do have a shirt under this, but honestly, I slept with it because it was a little cold today for some reason. It was cold in the house, and I didn't feel like turning the heat on because I don't feel like sweating. That's one thing I don't want to do. Yeah, and there's probably going to be a lot of anime in the beginning of this month, toward the middle, and then once the middle hits, I'm probably going to start with my superhero um shirts. As you know, and as I told you, I don't know if I told you guys, but we do have to pack up our stuff because our place is going to get renovated soon. So I don't want to have our shirts out. But I do have shirts which galore, so I don't have to repeat a lot of shirts, especially for my videos. So hopefully I can get back to it. And you guys have a blessed day. And please like, share, and subscribe if you guys do enjoy my content. Take care.